All right, thank you.
Okay, so you will see a pop-up on your screen. Please press OK so that you hear the rest of the meeting. All right. So our topic for today, understanding the ECD space. For those who are brand new, ECD means early childhood development, and that is from the time of conception in the womb right up until South African context, we take it right up to 7 years old. That is early childhood development, and that is basically the time before the child hits grade 1. Right, so we believe that educational is not always on purpose. It is sometimes accidental or incidental. Children learn all the time, not always in a formal method behind a desk, but from day to day, from mimicking others, from watching others as well. All right, slide 1 up, please. All right, so what are our objectives for this class, right? Firstly, we need to define early childhood, which we've done. We've said that it is the period of the human life from conception to about 7 years old in the South African context. In other countries, you will see they say it's up to 6 or 5 years old. It depends, right? We prefer that the child is turning 7 in the year that he is in grade 1, because then he has a better, his brain is more fully developed at that stage to grasp the concepts and the information that the CAPS curriculum has put out for us, right? We will also learn in the session tonight how to describe characteristics that are common to toddlers, things that are normal to children or to little ones. So in the ECD section, we have newborns, that are children that are between 0 to 1 years old. We have infants that's up until 2 years old. After that, we have 3 and 4 year olds. We call them toddlers, and then 4, 5, 6 years old, we call them basically preschoolers, because they are actively learning. All right. Number 3 says we describe characteristics common to preschool children, discuss the development of developmental tasks of early childhood development, and then lastly we say number 5, list 3 factors that aid in the development of language skills. So we understand that without language, learning is basically impossible. It is possible, but if a child is not able to um, express or convey what he has learned, it's basically useless, right? So language in the ECD field is something that is on the uppermost list of importance. Next slide, please. Right, so we continue with our objectives. We say we describe the role of physical activity in maintaining health. So physical meaning the body and the movements that the body does in order for this child to remain healthy. You cannot have an infant, a toddler, whatever you want to call it, a small human being sitting still the whole day. There has to be movement happening, right? We're going to touch on that in other videos, the different types of movements and how we classify them. We have gross motor skill developments where they use their entire bodies, their entire arms and legs and torsos and everything. And we have fine motor skill developments where they are only basically using their fingers, their hands, and their toes. Number 8 says describe the characteristics play and appropriate toys for toddler and preschool children. So, what does play mean to children? When does it get out of hand? When does the teacher step in? The reason why children play, we will discuss also in other modules, and appropriate toys for a toddler and a preschool child. For example, you cannot give a toddler 100-piece puzzle and expect him to solve it. It's impossible. It's not going to happen. It's probably going to chew it up. All right. So it needs to be appropriate to the age of the child. Age appropriate is a very, very important term. If you have a notebook with you, please write that down. Age appropriate material, right? Number 9, we're going to learn about 3 safety risks that are common in early childhood years. And lastly, we discuss the principles of guidance and the principles for young children during early childhood development, right? So in the olden days, there wasn't so much guidance. It was more discipline and it was more military style learning, rote learning, saying timetables and numbers and letters until you turn blue in your face. We don't do that in 2025, especially not in erudite. Um, we believe that children should learn in a place that is pleasant, in a place that is helpful in remembering things, and something that isn't traumatic. I can tell you a lot of my school years were very traumatic with a lot of angry, um, colored uh, people who were forced to become either teachers or nurses without giving my age away in apartheid, and they weren't happy to be there, right? We want people in the ECD space, especially, and in the entire educational field, right up until matric into tertiary level, who are there because they love what they are doing, and we hope to foster and to create this love within our erudite graduates. All right, next slide, Pedro. Are there any questions? Don't forget to put it in the chat box. Guys, don't be shy. I might sound stern, but I promise you I'm a softie by heart. I just need to make sure that we cover all the material. I think we have 27 of these slides on the screen tonight, and our boss will not be happy if we do not cover it, especially seeing that it is actually a revision a, re- um a revision lesson that we are doing. Right. So key terms that's going to keep on coming up. We're just going to go through them now. We spoke about age appropriate toys. And then we speak about cooperative play. That is when children play with each other, or they play with the teacher, or they listen to instruction about how they're supposed to be playing. Corporal punishment, we all know we used to get whacked with dusters and rulers and thrown with brooms or whatever the case may be. It's a big, big no no, especially in the ECD field. We do not allow it. We will discuss proper principles, and we don't call it punishment, we call it character discipline. All right. We will speak about dental caries that has got to do with oral hygiene. Discipline again comes up. Early childhood, we spoke about expressive language. We teach children how to express their emotions, right? And we do this mainly through emotion cards, or when we see or we read an expression on a child's face, we mimic that to them and we say, I see, or it seems as if you are angry, and we teach them words to describe their emotions, right? um, Immunity, that doesn't have anything to do with prison sentences, hopefully in the ECD field, but it's got to do with building strength against germs and other such diseases which are very common in early childhood development. Parallel play, and that means playing side by side or learning to share toys with each other. Pencil grip means the ability to hold a pencil with those 3 fingers, which is your thumb, your index finger, and your middle finger. Not only a pencil, we start off with bigger pieces of crayons and chalk and paint brushes and all of those things until eventually they mature, with the aim being of them being able to hold a pencil. In the ECD field, we do not graduate to the pen phase, right? That is, I think, in grade 1 or maybe grade 2, I'm not sure, right? Preschool phase, you all know what that is, 0 till 7 years old. Receptive language, that means the child being able to receive what you are saying to them in words. Time out, it's a means of discipline, it's a means of child taking time to sit down quietly, without embarrassment, and just think about what he's doing. And like we said, we like to make it constructive. So um, in my case, if I were to think of at this power moment a constructive time out because a child is angry or he just had a outburst now, I would say I'd like you to go sit outside on the chair, and just feel the skin all over you, feel the sun on the skin on you, and then when you come back, when you're ready and you calm down, you have a glass of water and you come tell teacher what upset you, all right? Constructive time out. Remember also with time out, we do it according to the age of the child. You cannot have a 2-year-old child doing 10 minutes of time out. It's not going to work. He's going to climb on that table, on the tree, on the roof, and you're going to get yourself in trouble. So it goes with the age. If the child is 1 years old, 1 minute time out. 4 years old, 4 minutes stops time out. All right. And then toddler phase. We spoke a little bit about that, so I'm not going to repeat myself on that. Right. I see still no hands up, so we will be proceeding to our next screen. Early childhood, toddler phase, preschool phase. Okay, we've defined all of that already. Next screen. Developmental tasks of early childhood. So the first task is acquiring receptive language and expressing language. All right. We spoke about that earlier. The child must be able to um, you must be able to give the child vocabulary and words. Like when the child walks in the class, today I picked up a preschooler as a favor for one of my friends, and he got in the car. It's not the first time I picked him up, and he got in the car quietly, and I said to him, Ahmed, what do we say? And naturally, our culture, he greeted and he said, Assalamu alaikum. And I said, Wa alaikum salam. So he already knows. He acquired that knowledge from me because we've done the drill a few times that when you get into the car, you greet. All right. So that is acquiring knowledge. And by him saying the greeting, by him greeting me, that is him expressing the knowledge. So I taught him that knowledge. He acquired it and he expressed it. Developmental social interaction skills. They have to, when we speak about social, that is always when it involves other people, whether it is the cleaner that is coming into the class to come and clean or dust or change the nappies, whether that is the friend that's next to him, whether that is whoever. Yeah, every besides the child himself. The person whose dog is barking, please put you in timeout, put your mic on mute. Thank you. Please go back. Here we go. Right. Mastering self-control in as toilet training is also going to be one of your tasks as a ECD practitioner. They don't usually call us teachers. Um, I myself am married to a teacher who works in the APT phase, and it's a thing in the education field where they look down on ECD teachers. So we decided to acquire our own title, and we call ourselves facilitators. And the reason for that is mainly we do facilitate. We do not sit and dictate and lecture. We facilitate, we guide, we walk hand in hand, side by side with the child to learn what he needs to learn and what he needs to master. All right. For example, toilet training. And then lastly, amongst the tasks, we say the beginning to develop a self-image and a sense of autonomy. Remember this, you're going to get a lot in the beginning of the year or in the beginning of the child starting at your school. The child doesn't see himself separate from his primary caregiver. So usually in an ideal world, that primary caregiver is the mother. But in the world that we come from, especially here in South Africa, because the mother is usually career orientated and has to be out of the door before the child even wakes up. Usually, the primary caregiver is either an OP or the gogo or the nanny, the grandmother, the auntie, the big brother or the big sister, right? So this child doesn't see themselves separate from the primary caregiver, and it is our duty to teach the child that he is an individual on his own. He is capable of doing things on his own with the help and the assistance of a primary caregiver, and then afterwards in the class with the teacher or the teacher's aide, eventually until he gets to a stage of independence. That is what we are aiming at. If we don't aim at that, we will forever be running around 20 toddlers, 20 preschoolers, trying to help everybody pull up their pants, wipe their nose, do their things, all of those type of things, right? So these are the tasks that we are expected to master in ECD world as soon as possible, make a child independent so that he is able to learn faster, easier, and more confidently. Right. Next page. Pedro, are you okay?
Hello, yes, can
Yeah,
you see the screen?
yeah. I'm just checking in. Are you okay? Just now you
Yes,
thought
I'm good.
disciplining. Was it your dog making a noise?
No, unfortunately not.
All right. I'm going to go into the classroom now. I'm going to choose a name randomly. I'm going to ask Lina Simpson. Lina Simpson, can you unmute yourself, my darling? Guys, please don't be afraid. And please don't play disappearing acts. I promise you won't embarrass. Lina, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
How you
Hello.
doing, Lina? How you
I'm
doing,
fine.
Lina?
I'm fine, thank you. And yourself?
I'm good, I'm good. Where you from, Lina?
I'm from PE.
Ah, okay,
Here.
Vegas. Okay.
Yes.
Welcome, Lina. All right,
Thank you.
so you see our slide speaking about physiological changes. Can you just read all the words or all the points that come up on there? You don't have to explain anything. I just want to know that our group is engaging with us. Could you be so kind to read the points that appear under physiological changes, please?
Okay. The first one it's walking
Mhm.
and fundamentals, weight
Mhm.
gain,
Uh-huh.
pincer grasp, hearing, fine motor skills, and toilet training.
Great. Very good. So when we speak about don't go yet, Lina. When we
No,
speak
no.
about When we speak about physiological changes, we are speaking about physical changes that are happening within the child's body. Are we together? All right.
Yes.
So walking speaks for itself. Do you perhaps know what they mean when they speak about fontanelles?
Fontanels. Ooh, I really don't know. I really don't know.
We'll come back to that. Choose anyone there that you can give me maybe 2 points on. Any of those points that are listed.
Mhm.
How
Yeah.
about going for training? Why do you think it's
Sorry?
important? Why do you think it's important for an ECD learner to have toilet training?
Uh, it's important for them to have toilet training so they can learn to be independent, go
Mhm.
on their own to the to the toilet, and uh, what's the other one?
hygiene.
Hygiene, yes, and they also learn about hygiene when they must first wipe their bum or whatever and wash their hands when they finish.
Very good, very good. Well done, Lena. I'm going to give you 10 brownie points for that. Pedro, please make sure that you get Ferrero Rochers for that beautiful answer. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks for taking. Well done, well done. All right. So Fontaine, I think we went through the rest already. I always run my mouth before we get to the points. But to explain to us fontanelles, it is basically the scalp. The scalp of a child is not fully closed when the child is born. In actual fact, when it comes through the birthing canal, it overlocks or it interlocks over each other. The one side of the scalp goes over the other side of the scalp so that it can exit the birthing canal. It will only be, I don't want to use the exact word, I don't want to be crude, I'm always raw. So that you can come out of the birthing canal. I experienced this recently. I'm not going to talk about that because it was traumatic. But anyway, I always pictured it would come out like a ball. It doesn't come out like a ball. It looks more like a rugby ball. That's how the sides of the scalp uh, fold over each other. Now, in once it comes out, it obviously pops back out to a bit of a normal shape of a soccer ball and not a rugby ball anymore. But in between there is a space that is very soft. And if you watch a child closely, especially a newborn baby or baby in the early weeks, early months of their life, you can actually see almost like a heartbeat in the middle of their head, right? So that is the fontanelle that we are speaking of. And that is a very sensitive time in their lives that if injury happens there, their brain can be damaged dramatically and drastically for the rest of their lives. So we need to be able to be doing stimulating exercises with them that allows the growth of these fontanelles to happen as nature intends it to happen, and to be aware of that. Like you can't ask a 1 year old child whose fontanelles are not right to go do a handstand on his head. He'll probably get injured. Or what if there's a Lego block that he doesn't see there and it pierces through, right? So it's very, very important. We need to know this as ECD educators because we can get ourselves in big, big, big trouble if we don't. I don't mean to scare anybody away, but these are the realities, right? Also, we do keep records as ECD practitioners. If you have your own school, you better familiarize yourself and go and Google or go to the department and get all these different type of records where you weigh the child the learners every month. You need to see their clinic cards as well to see if they have got their immunization. Remember, we spoke earlier about immunity. That also includes immunization from early childhood diseases, um, stuff like mumps and chicken pox and all of these things. There's lots of people for religious or other reasons who do not agree with it. It is their right. I would advise you as a teacher and as a principal or school manager, whatever the case may be, to have the person put it in writing that they do not participate in that, because those same people, when their children get chicken pox from someone else in the class, that person is immunized, so they get through it naturally. But unfortunately, their child doesn't get through it and has a hard time, or even worst case scenario, dies. They will come and sue you because the child picked it up at the school. So very, very important things we don't like to speak, but it's the reality, right? So in a nutshell, these are the physiological changes. Remember, whenever you see physio, it's got to do with physical, the physical body, physiological, and obviously logical means sense, the the sensible changes that are going to be happening or should be happening in the child. And if you pick up that the child is not meeting those certain milestones at certain points, like you have a 5-year-old that's fontanelles are still very soft, it's a reason for concern. You approach your head of department, your HOD, or the principal. You speak to the principal. You have the principal check it out. You inform the parents about the concern, or you ask permission. If the parent says, look, I cannot go to the clinic, you ask for permission if you can have a sister come um to the center and check out the child. So much check out everybody. The clinics do this a lot. It's good to make yourself known to the clinic. So when they run these campaigns and there is like I would say epidemics or pandemics, but just like bursts out, there's flu bursts out, so it's this season or it's a fever season or whatever, you are on their database and they come around. They usually send those indemnity forms for the parents to fill in to give permission for the children to get the drops or the shot to prevent them from falling ill, and which builds immunity um, that we were speaking about earlier on as well. All right, I think that's enough about physiological changes. Let's carry on. I sound almost like a doctor and I'm so clueless when it comes to medication, but those are the things that we need to know. Right. Still no questions in the chat box. First person who puts a question in the chat box, you will receive 500 cents from me as a thank you gift. All right. Critical thinking question number 1. Why is it important to identify readiness cues in a child before the initiation of toilet training? So the person who answers that in the chat box, we're going to read through it later. The one who answers it to the best of their ability or to the correctest of the answer, that person will get some brownie points from us. We can go to the next slide, Petro. So think about that. Why is it important? Right now, we speak a little bit about Nazali, please put your screen off, my darling. All right, we're gonna carry on with Nazli's pretty face over there. Nutrition. Children are usually fed by adults whose eating habits may be based on ethnic, cultural, folklore, or fad concepts. Not everybody eats the same. If you have a child that comes from a traditional South African home, the child will probably eat with a spoon. A little bit more up class, they will be eating with a knife and a fork. If you come from the Kasi, they will be eating with the entire hand. You know how they like to take um, the pap and make it into balls and squeeze it like that. It's not disgusting. It's their culture. That's how they eat. Familiarize ourselves with that. If you come from an Islamic black background like myself, we eat with our fingers, the pincer grip mainly. So you need to educate yourself with what is culturally normal to that child and not make the child feel bad for it. However, you will then instruct the children who are eating with their hands, or everybody for that matter, to go and rinse your forks and wash your spoons and wash your hands and your everything before eating time, right? The spread of germs mainly happens through the transmission of the hand to mouth. Sometimes it's the hand to mouth with a toy, sometimes it's the hand to mouth with the food, sometimes it's the hand in other people's food and other people spit and all of these type of grossy things. Get used to it. It's a beautiful field we are playing in. Right. Number 2, adequate nutrition is essential for optimal physical and mental development in young children. Adequate nutrition. So not everybody is by the means to have adequate nutrition, to have an apple a day to keep the doctor away, and to have hyper brands so that their tummy stay regular and to this and to that and to whatever the case may be. But to the best of our ability, it is our duty to send out information to parents on simple gestures of good nutritional practices for children, like a packet of apples costs 27 rand, and it can last them the whole month if they just wash the apples properly and they cut it up into 4 pieces, include it in the child's lunchbox, with a sandwich there of peanut butter that has a lot of protein. Tell them the simple things in the stuff that they have, that they don't have to go and look in Woolworths and in who knows what and get fancy, right? It can be simple, simple. Try to make them stay away from stuff that are unhealthy, that has a lot of additives and colorants, like the go slows and the, I don't know, whatever else they sell on the streets. They are not good for children. If it has a lot of coloring in it, it's not good for children, right? Familiarize ourselves with it, draw up a little workshop, tell the parents we can have a meet and greet this week, so we can all meet each other, and we're going to talk a little bit about nutrition, because if our children don't have good nutrition, then they're not going to be able to learn properly. And you will find that they will actually come to you also with ideas, and it can actually turn into a beautiful thing where everybody decides every day, um, uh, on every day of the month. Let's say you have lucky 20 children in your class, they send two, everybody gets a chance to send 2 loaves of brown whole grain bread to school. This one volunteers to send the peanut butter, that one does that, or whatever the case may be, and all the children eat the same thing, and life is just beautiful. You never know, right? Explore, go with the ideas, learn what the culture is, learn what within the culture is harmful, and explain it in a sensitive way that is not offensive to them. That's very, very, very important. You need to connect with people on a cultural level. Doesn't mean because you fanagalo that you understand people, and that you people will get you, or you think they get you. Sometimes we miss the picture totally and we actually offend people, right? Let's not assume. If we don't know, let's ask them. What is the typical diet like in your house? What do you guys usually eat? Go do research on it. Ask a dietitian to check out what's good, what's not good. Most of the food is good. It's the way in which the food is prepared. Sometimes too much spices, sometimes too much oil, sometimes too burnt. Sometimes they cook it so much that all the nutritional value goes, and the hooters is pop and it looks like soup, and it's just a whole big mess. Enough of that. Eating habits are developed during the early childhood years. So you do have influence. You can teach that child to acquire a taste for food that is good. You do have the ability to teach that child to acquire the etiquettes of eating that is socially acceptable. All right, because you can't be going to high school and be doing snacks or there and expecting people not to laugh at you or make fun of you. You need to some degree be authentic to yourself, yes, but also fit in with the social norms, because you don't always want to stand out of the crowd like a sore thumb. All right. Shoot me, I said it, but that's the truth. It's South Africa, it's where we live. Right, let's carry on to the next slide. Critical question number 2. I still don't have a answer for critical question number 1. Critical question number 2 says, what are the reasons for teaching parents to read food labels as a way to promote nutritional and dental health? All right, that you are going to go and do yourself. You are going to put it in the chat box if you're lucky, and then nobody has to do it. And if you don't, everybody has to do it. Remember, I spoke about coloring in food. Remember, I spoke about a few pointers and factors that indicate why a certain food wouldn't be good for children. You need to go and sit and do some homework on that. Pedro, can you tell me how many slides we have left? I see we only have 15 minutes.
Okay, please hold. Let me check. How do I check now?
Yeah, like that.
Okay, where did we stop? We by question number 2, right?
question number
Oh,
2.
yeah. So we still have 17 slides left.
Goodness. Okay. We're not answering question number 2. Nick can kill us. It's fine. Let's go on to our next slide. Social development tasks include language and communication skills, cognitive development, moral development, sexuality, physical development, play, and daycare. Okay, so psychosocial. Sorry, I said physio. Psychosocial. So immediately it is what you think when you hear the word psycho. It's not got to do with madness, but it has got to do with the mind, right? So the mind and the person's interaction with other people, psychosocial development, how that person's mind has developed and how he interacts and engages with other people. All right. So how does he communicate? Our first one we had there was communicate. His use of language. His cognitive development. When we speak about cognitive development, we speak about his ability to think, to solve problems, to be able to differentiate between differences, between colors, between sizes. It's about thinking when we speak about cognitive. And then moral, I think we all should know moral and ethical stuff. Would be stuff like behaviors, acceptable behaviors, good manners, kindness, all of that. Sexuality, we're not going to dwell into it, but we know that the main differences here are male and female children have different body parts. Children don't need to go into detail. Girls go to the girls' toilet and boys go to the boys' toilet, and clean yourself from the front to the back if you are a girl, and if you are a boy, you do what boys do, and so on and so forth. Physical play is important with psychosocial development because, again, it teaches them how to play together with others. An example of a psychosocial um, sport would be soccer. You cannot play soccer by yourself unless you're just dribbling. But if we are assessing you for a psychosocial um, assessment, and we throw in a game of soccer, we want to see how you engage with others. Are you just domineering the ball, or are you passing that ball to your teammates? Are you playing the role that has been defined to you as a defender, or are you busy playing goalkeeper, you know? And then obviously the simple things like just playing and day-to-day activities in the class. Are you taking care of yourself? Are you cleaning up after you made a mess? Are you um, sharpening your crayons or your pencils in the correct place? Do you know where your lunchtime is? As teacher always need to run after you, right? So psychosocial development includes this and many other things. But what you need to take away from this mainly is that it is the child's interaction with others in his environment, mostly his peers, but also including the adults in the environment, like we mentioned earlier, the janitors, the cleaners, the principal, the head of departments that walk in, the health department that walks in, the teachers. You want your children to be able to have good psychosocial skills. So when in South Africa, an adult walks in the class, because a teacher doesn't make it the children, or doesn't familiarize the children with good etiquette, the teacher starts to pretend when an adult walks in the class. Everybody, can you not see we have a visitor? Stand up, say hello, like it's a military force. No, that stuff you should be doing in your morning ring. Guys, I want us to remember, whenever an adult walks into the class, we must greet nicely, right? You hear my whistle, you look at me, you see where my eyes are going, you see the adult, out of respect, you stand up, you greet. Good morning, sir. Good morning, ma'am. or just Dumela, Tobela, hello, Salam Alaikum, Namaste, whatever the word is. And how are you today? Right? That reflects good on you as a teacher. It shows that you are invested in the psychosocial development of your children, on how they present themselves, on how they use language, on how they engage with others. All right, next slide. Let's try to beat this clock. Next slide, next slide, next slide. Language and development skills differs between toddlers and preschool age children. That goes without saying. The toddlers are the younger ones, and the preschool age children are obviously a lot more advanced. You don't expect a toddler to be able to use words that are not in his vocabulary range. So if you have a notepad again by your side, please make a note, go and look up what is the vocabulary range of the ECD um, of ECD learners. So from 0 to 0, what would the language be? From from 0 to 0, what type of vocabulary or number of words are we looking at? From 1 to 2, from 2 to 3, from 3 to 4, from 4 to 5, 5 to 6, and so on and so forth. In the Montessori philosophy, it is believed that between the ages of 18 months and 2 years, that is 1.5 and 2 years, there is something called an explosion into language, where a child all of a sudden goes from knowing a couple of hundred of words to being able to have full strung sentences spread out. All right. So there's big differences within the ECD field on the use of vocabulary, which is in simple terms, words, the amount of words that they know, the amount of words that they should know, and how they start using two words, phrases together, and how they start stringing sentences along. All right, we can go to the next slide. I see there's a love letter for me in the chat box. Let me see. Question 2. Shania says, by reading labels, parents or teachers can avoid foods that cause tooth decay. It shows how much sugar, fat, salt in the food and helps their children grow healthy and strong. Beautifully put, Kanel. Chennai. So remember in the beginning of the slides, there was something there. If you're clever, then you will screen grab the slides. Sorry for only telling you that now. But anyway, in the beginning, there was something that spoke about caries, tooth caries or decay caries. Caries is the buildup of sugar that rots in the gums of small people. All right, so that's why you'll see most of them look like they have gold teeth, like they're trying to be 50 cents or I don't know, Eminem, whoever the rappers are with all that gold in their teeth, right? That's what caries is, and that is what Shania has so beautifully put in her answer. That I hope she never Googled. I'm joking, Shania. Even if you did Google, well done. Thank you for the answer. All right. Next, we're focusing on the toddler. Go back, please, Pedro. I know you want this session to end just as badly as I do, but let's focus on the toddler. Right. The toddler, we say, his development receptive language before he develops receptive language before expressive language. So he must first be able to receive. Receptive means receive. Where does he receive this from? From you as the facilitator, the teacher, the TESA, whatever you want to call yourself, right? Before he can express. So he must be able to be told, this is hot and this is cold. So when you come to him and you ask him, are you feeling hot or cold? He will be able to tell you whether he's feeling hot or cold, depending on whether you taught him what was hot or cold. He needs to receive that information and able to express that information. Simple, right? First, clear word and respond to simple commands by the age of 1. So by the time he hits one, he should be able to say a few clear words. And usually the fight for that clear words is mama or dada or papa or whatever. But guess what word wins most of the time? The word no. You know why? Because that's what is being told most of the time. For those of us who don't know, it's a truth. I did that research on my own, and I don't know where I got it qualified, but through my personal experience, that's mostly what 1-year-olds say, especially when they mean it, right? By 15 months, we say you should be able to speak 4 to 6 words. I expect from an erudite teacher that a child of 15 months, which is almost by 1.5 years, 4 to 6 words is not acceptable. I want 40 to 60 words, please. I will be coming around to your center, even if you're in Kibeha, Lina. I will be coming around to your center and you won't even know it's me. All right, and I'll just say no, I'm here from the Department of Clinical Affairs, and we are just checking for certain termites that are in the air. And yeah, I'll speak quietly there on the side to the principal and ask who's Lina, and I'll go sit in your class a little bit and observe you. All right. By the age of 19 months, it says speak 15 words, and by the age of 2 years, it must exceed 100 words. Remember, this is just simple steps or guidelines, little milestones. It can be much more than that. I beg you, please try to push for that. And in some cases, it might be a little less. It's okay. Um, Try to take it by the child's pace, but don't underestimate the child by limiting them only to what is being written here. All right, we can go to the next one, the preschooler. Pedro, hit. Language development occurs rapidly. 5-year-old has a vocabulary that exceeds 2,000 words. This is the point where they just ask the whole day, why this, why that, why. I have a time in my class after first break where we answer all the whys. And if you can't remember, then you can come and tap me on my shoulder. And I have a little pad in my apron, and I will write your question down and I will answer it after first break. Because otherwise, they are so manipulative that they carry you away from the entire lesson or from the entire activities with all the whys, and you also start to feel like some professional TED Talk person there, and you go on for hours and hours and you don't realize that you're missing out your lesson because you're answering so many whys. All right, so make time for all the whys wisely. Right, and then lastly on the preschooler, they say speech development is a reflection of mental and emotional development. If the child is not near 2,000 words by the time he is a preschooler, which is 5 to 6 years old, I would say even 4, in the case of children that are a little more advanced. It's something we need to look into, something you need to sit down with, work on the child before you carry that concerns to your head of department, to the principal, or call a parent in. Never ever call a parent in without consulting with your senior. All right, next slide. We have 1 more minute left. I don't think we're gonna go into this one over here. Pedro, um, can you zoom out and see how many slides is after this? Yeah, it's too much. And it goes into a bit of detail that I don't want to rush. I'd
Yeah,
like us all to.
there's still 12 slides left. Quite a lot.
Yeah, and it's got a lot of information in it. It's for those who don't know, Nick, our principal, our founder, our CEO, he's a forensic psychologist, and he comes up with the material. So we are blessed that we have a lot of insight from a psychological perspective in our learning material. And it can become quite intense. I don't want to rush through it and do injustice to you guys. It is 7 o'clock on the dot. So we're gonna stop right here, right now. And from my side, I'm going to say thank you for joining the class. Have a good evening. God bless you. Ambakasle. Assalamu alaikum. Goodbye. Over to Pedro.
Thank you so much, Sophia, for the lovely class. And thank you for everyone who has joined us as well this evening. As mentioned, a recording of the class will be put onto the WhatsApp groups. And so for those who have missed it, or if you want to go back and revise on certain aspects, you're more than welcome to do such your free time. And then we will continue this class as well as the next topic in our next session. Thank you so much, everyone, and I hope that we all stay warm in this cold weather. And I want to wish everyone a good night. And thank you, Sophia, once again.
You're welcome. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Tata.
Bye.
Ambakasle.